All right, good morning and welcome to our first session of 2025's education sessions on our email and storage changes that are going to be occurring. My name is Mandy Gagliardi. I am part of OTDI in our training department. At the top of your Teams window, there is a button labeled Q&A. If you have any questions, I would ask that you direct them into the Q&A. That makes it easier for me to answer them and to use them to build our frequently asked questions section in the ARC, which we're going to spend time in today. This session is about an hour long. I will be talking to you about the different changes that are coming down the pike. Can everyone see the PowerPoint presentation? If not, throw a hand up or something. Sorry, I'm letting somebody in. Let me pull up my Q&A. We're just getting started here. The slides themselves will not be shared, but the presentation is being recorded and then it will be placed on the Administrative Resource Center on the Microsoft training page where I've put our previous training sessions. So you'll be able to find everything we're going to talk about today. All right, so did somebody say they couldn't see the presentation? All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next screen. Our agenda, I'm going to talk to you about the upcoming storage changes. I'm going to show you how to view your current storage allotments in the three major areas. We're going to talk about some different email storage management tools that are available for you to help bring down that limit that you might find yourself at. And we'll also talk about some university library retention strategies. The library has worked very closely with us and everyone across campus to talk about retention policies based upon the type of work that you do. The first thing that I would like to direct your attention to are two websites. The first one that you see on that screen, and I'm doing this as a live event, so you should be able to click on those links. If you can't, let me know. But the first one is the project site. If you have any questions about what's going on or why we're doing this, this page will answer all of your questions. I'm going to try to flip over to it real quick. Right? This is the result of that very first link. It is our storage and email transformation project page. So on here, we talk about why we're making these changes. It's not like we woke up one day and said, you know what, we need to cut everybody's storage. Microsoft is changing their pricing policies, their licensing policies, lots of different changes are coming down the pike. So we're trying to make certain that we can give you the best storage experience possible. So this is our first step. There's also other things going on that we actually have absolutely no control over. I'm certain that you've heard about, or maybe you haven't, Left's lifetime email forwarding is going to have to go away. It's not something that we want to do, but a lot of these third-party email providers like Gmail and Yahoo and Live will no longer allow us to forward. So that's another change that you'll read about here. Most of this isn't going to affect you until June of 2025, so June of this year. If you want to know what the limits are, the limits have all been established and set on this page. And of course they are in the ARC, but you would have to navigate down to each tool. I like to bring you here because it's everything on one page. So current students, they will have 100 gigabyte for their Buckeye Mail Outlook storage, and they will have 100 gigabyte for OneDrive. Here's current university employees, faculty, and staff. You will have 100 gigabyte for email. You also have in your email an online archive, which we're going to spend a lot of time talking about today. And OneDrive storage, it will be 500 gig. One thing that is not listed on here is Teams. Teams storage will be going down to 5 terabytes. That decision, I believe, was just made a week or two ago. So Then, of course, we've broken down the COTC employees, faculty, and staff because technically they are part of our tenant. We have sponsored guests. This actually started last year, so you guys are probably already familiar with that. And then if you wanted to know about medical center and anybody with dual appointment, we've placed that there as well. There are no changes being made to the medical center side for email and storage. That's why a lot of people couldn't get into this and they kept trying to get in. So if you work with people that are in the medical center and they're worried about the storage changes because they couldn't register for these sessions, just tell them it's not for them. It's only for the university. Also on this page, we have a lot of different online resources to help manage your storage. I'm going to be talking to you about most of them during this session. We're going to take a look at how to check your email storage, your OneDrive storage, and have the storage of each of your teams. And then they talk about the changes that are happening to the email and the automatic forwarding. That's not what this is about. But if you did want to know more about it, it is here. And then some frequently asked questions. The other page that's going to be, or pages I should say, that are going to be super important for you are in the Administrative Resource Center. The Outlook service landing page. Here we have a bunch of different job aids. Specifically for what we're talking about today, you would want to visit Setting Retention and Archiving in Outlook. We have it for Mac, Windows, and mobile. I am a PC user, so everything I show you today is going to be on PC. I do have some screenshots of Mac because Jason Pollock, the service owner, he is a Mac user. So he can provide me screenshots, but I can't actually show you how to do it. In June of 2024, they improved Mac's ability to set retention policies and archiving policies. So it's better, and what you see, what I'm going to show you, it's going to be the same, but just the interface is going to look slightly different. There are also videos that I created. If the textual step-by-step instructions for setting your archiving and retention policies, maybe you're not a reader, maybe you're more of a visual learner, I did create videos so you can just watch how somebody sets those policies. So lots of stuff in here. Of course, don't forget your Teams and also OneDrive. On Teams and OneDrive, I've also created articles on how to check your storage. Check your OneDrive storage size. So everything I'm talking about today, you can come here and you can review it. All right. All right. So as I said, on June 1st, that's when these changes are going to be taking effect. It's not something that you're going to wake up on June 1st and all of a sudden you're going to run into problems. That's why we're doing these sessions. We want you to spend a little bit of time now trying to get a handle on your storage, so that way when June does roll around, you won't run into any issues. When you hit your limits, when you get close to your storage limit in email, you will be sent an email saying, hey, you're getting a little close to your storage units, and you won't be able to send anything out. And then when you actually hit your limit, you'll get a message saying you can't send or receive. So that's why we want you to go ahead and try to get a handle on this now. I hate this slide, but they gave it to me. I guess if you are really techie, you might like looking at that chart. Like I said, I prefer to look at the project team and the project site and show everybody where those sizes are, because I think it makes a lot more sense than this complicated chart. However, what I want to point out is that org accounts, that is one that's also going to have limit change, and that will be at 50 gig. And we've talked about Teams. Teams is 5 terabytes. Okay. So to view your email storage, we're actually not going to work. All right. In the are you can't see the PowerPoint presentation? Is that what I'm hearing? All right, well, I'm going to keep going. You just see envelopes. I don't know what that means because I don't see any envelopes. But on my slide here, this is the chart I was talking about. The biggest, most important thing here is Teams. Go back. Teams is 5 terabytes. That's all I wanted to point out on this chart. I'm certain it's in there somewhere too. Okay. So back to email. So if you want to view your email storage, that's actually not done in Outlook. You're going to want to use the Outlook web app. That is the best way, actually the only way, to see your overall email storage. So I will be showing you how to do that through the Outlook web browser. But before we go in there, I'm going to show you what the screen will look like. Once we get in there, you'll see that it's the same as any other Microsoft product. There's a gear. Whenever you see the gear, that's going to get you to settings. And when you get to settings, you're going to have a window that's got lots of categories. And in here, under storage, you could see the example that they have. It shows a big long line that's chunked into colors about what your storage is and where it's being used. And we'll be able to make changes on a folder by folder level. Your OneDrive storage, this one is a little bit tricky to get to and take a look at. They say that you should be able to log in through the web app and see your OneDrive storage. And I was able to do that until the end of November. And then something happened with an update. I can no longer access it that way. I have to access it through the system tray. So when we do the OneDrive, how do I check the size? I'll be showing you how to do that. I don't know when that glitch will change because it's Microsoft. It'll just change one day and I just won't notice. When you do get in to view your OneDrive storage, it's very simple. It's just a little tiny block that shows up on the screen and it tells you exactly how much you're using of your total allotment size. And in Mac, you have to use the preferences. Preferences are a Mac. And then your team storage. You will access your team storage actually through the desktop app. You can access it through the web app though. So if you are a web user of the Microsoft products, Teams is the one that you'll be able to do it simple, no problem. The Teams storage interface is a little bit different though. I mean, it looks similar to the OneDrive, but it breaks it down by every single channel and then any folders that you have in the channel. So we'll get to explore and play with that. And of course, you can do a little bit of management as well. You can empty folders. Not that I recommend that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to demo it. Let me get over, stop this, stop that. Oh no. Now. There you go. Can everybody see the arc? If not, raise your hand. All right, good. So Administrative Resource Center, this is not where we're going to stay. We're going to log in to the web app. Come on. So at it.osu.edu/Microsoft-365, this is our web portal for logging into our version of Microsoft 365. You can sign directly into your email from here as well. There's no difference. This just takes you directly to Outlook. I'm going to take you to Microsoft 365 first so we can see the highest level. All right, when you first log in, you will be brought to the Microsoft 365 landing page. This basically will show you all the different documents that you've worked on, so you guys get to see what I've been doing this morning, and all the other files. This is not OneDrive. This is not Teams. This is not Copilot. This is called your Microsoft 365 welcome page, your home page. To get to the other applications like Outlook, you're going to use the apps button in the lower left-hand corner of the panel. And that will move you to your apps screen. All of your basic apps will be in what we call waffles across the top. That's what those buttons are called, little waffles. And you'll see there's Teams, there's Word, there's Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, OneNote. There's others because, you know, we have more in our licensing. So you could hit all apps and you could play with those. We're going to go to Outlook. All right, another tab will open. And I'm signed into my email. Oh, look at that. My assignment got graded. Yay. All right, but we're here to take a look at storage sizes. So we're going to go to the gear that's in the upper right-hand corner. In Microsoft products, gears always mean more. It means there's something I can do in here, and typically it's settings. So we're going to pop that open, and this is my settings window. We're going to go to Account on the left-hand side, and then in the middle, we're going to go to Storage. And this is how you can see your storage allotment. I have a lot of IT service desk notifications. But I am very proud because the first time I ran this session for another group, it was a special group, the extensions office, I was at like 50%. So I've got it down to 1. This is through the use of retention and archiving policies. Sorry, my brain stopped there for a second. Archiving and retention. All right, so let's say you're looking at this and you're like, wow, I have 137 meg, which is not a lot, 137 meg in my junk email. I should go ahead and delete that. So over here on the right-hand side, you do have the ability to manage. You can say, hey, delete all things that are 3 months and older. That way, if you're like me and you've got a problem with commitment, you don't have to commit to deleting it. You can just maybe if it's 3 months old, then it can go away. And you have that on all of these different folders. Questions on looking at your storage. We haven't done anything with managing it, just looking at it. I'm going to pop up my Q&A real quick, just in case. Are my slides still not advancing? Yes, I will be talking about archiving. All right, and everybody can see. Research is handled a little bit differently, and I can't answer who wrote that, who asked that question. I want to address you, Caroline. I can't answer exactly how it's going to be handled. My role in the project team is just to get the information out there and to educate as many people as I possibly can. Those little one-offs, like, because I do understand research is exceptionally important. Jason Pollock has all that information. So if you actually just send an email to the IT service desk asking that question, they'll have Jason respond to you. I'm going to take a little screenshot of your question. I'm going to see if there's anything he can tell me. But if you have any other questions like that related to research and you're not here with me, just call the IT service desk or shoot them an email. All right, anything else in there? Okay, so the next thing we're going to take a look at is OneDrive. I had to remember what it's doing. OneDrive storage. So back to Microsoft 365 homepage in our web browser. All I did was close the Outlook tab. So I'm back here. And I want to see the storage size of OneDrive. So I'm going to go ahead and click OneDrive. And cross my fingers. Nope. Okay, so the storage was supposed to show up down here in the lower left-hand corner. I have to move screens because I need to use the system tray. And this is the only way I know to do it right now because of that glitch. You'll understand what I mean here in just a second. But in your system tray, that's where your little clock is in the lower right-hand corner of your taskbar. I don't know if you're familiar with those names, but in the taskbar, you're going to click on the blue cloud. When you click on that blue cloud, this is showing you a OneDrive interface. I can see files that I have just recently been working with. I can open up whatever folder that file happens to be in. I can view it online. I can take a look at the recycle bin. I can also get to my OneDrive settings. Okay. So the OneDrive settings is the gear in the upper right-hand corner. Remember what I said, Microsoft gear, always settings. Select settings. Just move, there we go. And you can see the storage in the lower left-hand corner here. So another way to see it, like I said, it is supposed to show up on the website, but it's just a glitch right now. Eventually it will. All right, if I hit manage storage, another panel will open. And now you should be able to see this is my OneDrive. So it brought me directly to my OneDrive storage. And I have lots of videos. That's like where all of my storage space is. I need to get another bed. Down here, that's also your storage, but look at that. Let's see. You can see my little storage bar. Do that one more time. Give me just a second here. This is great. There we go. Now you're going to work. Perfect. Sorry, I was trying to get this panel to open and my little button wasn't expanding, so I closed it and reopened it, and then I could get the button to work. And now you can see the storage down here at the bottom. All right, so that shows you how much you're using. So I'm using 117 gig, wow, of 5 terabytes, which really is only 2%. And if you were looking, I had a lot of videos in there because I do a lot of different video editing. So I think 5 terabytes is gonna do well for a team. Or yeah, this is for a team, pardon me. So anyway, I want to click the link, and then when I click the link, these are the largest files in my OneDrive. I can go through, I can make changes, delete things. It really does help me get a handle on finding it. So there's nothing automated though. There's no automated tools like we have with Outlook. Maybe eventually, as Teams and OneDrive expand and get more and more features, maybe there'll be some management from here, but that's it. All right, so now how do we look at the storage size of a team? You might have noticed that when I went into my OneDrive storage, on the left-hand side, there's a section called Quick Access. And in Quick Access, this is all of the different teams that you have access to. So what I did is I clicked on this test team for webinars. It's mine. I made it so I could do things like this. By clicking on it, it shows me the different storage that I have. And that's it. But the reason I bring you here is because in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that's labeled Go to Site. This is how you can control that team. That's one way. The most common way you're going to do it, though, is from your Teams interface. So that's actually what I'm going to show you. Let me stop that. And back to here. All right, so in my teams, oh, here's all of my teams. And I've said, you know what? I want to see how much space or how much storage I'm using in my test team. All right, so down here at the bottom, I've got my fake team, my test team for webinars I use for sessions like this. I'm going to click on it to open it up, and I can see, oh, look, there's a bunch of files. There's a whole bunch of things in the files. So I know my team is using storage. The moment I know there's files in it, it's using storage. So to take a look at the storage, all the way on the right-hand side of the toolbar at the top, you'll see New, Upload, and then at the end, there's 3 little buttons. That's called an ellipse. When you click on it, an action menu is going to open, and you will see something called Open in SharePoint. It's the 4th one down. This actually opens your team into the website I just talked to you about, we saw a second ago. But this is the most common way. This is what you're going to be doing when when you have to go check the size of a team. You're going to come here, you're going to choose open in SharePoint. Then once you open it in SharePoint, your web browser is going to open up eventually. Sorry, my Teams is having trouble. There we go. Did not want to share that page. So after I clicked open in SharePoint, as I said, my web browser will open and it brings me directly to the team. See, and now I can see all the different files that are in here. And then I have to remember how to get to my storage. Sorry, it's been a little bit. If I remember correctly, yes, it's the gear. Once again, the gear is in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to go down to Site Information. That opens a panel on the right-hand side of the screen, and you can make changes here if you wanted to. But what I want is View All Site Settings. And then it brings you to a screen that can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're not used to SharePoint. Some of these things, don't touch it. Like if you don't know what it does, don't play with it. But one thing you can play with in here is storage. There it is, storage metrics. Oh, it looks like they even made the font a little bit bigger. Who knew? There we go. And when you click storage metrics, it's going to bring you to what you saw in that screenshot. This is my team. This is all the storage in my team. Everything that you store in your team is put in your documents folder. So if we click on documents, you'll even see each of the channels that are in your team. And you can go in and look at the files for each of the channels in your team. So I can see for my my little test team here, the majority of the documents I'm storing are in document channel for project 1. This is all fake team. That's why it's like 0% of everything. I threw something together so I'd have something to play with. We still have people coming in. Okay. So, quick recap. To view your Outlook storage limits, you're going to use the Outlook web app. To view your OneDrive storage limits, you're going to use the OneDrive icon in your system tray. And then to view your Teams storage, you're going to open the team in Teams and then open it in SharePoint. Anybody have questions on those 3 things? All I've done is show you how to look at your storage. I haven't showed you yet how to manage it. We haven't done any of that, right? Okay, well then, I'm going to move forward. That's not bad. Half hour for the first part. You guys did really good. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this for just a moment and pop back to our presentation. Okay, so we looked at OneDrive, Teams, and Outlook for email. Your email storage can be a little bit confusing. And when we ask you to start controlling how much you store in there, I also understand how overwhelming that can be. I have a real problem with getting rid of things. I keep stuff. I've been with the university for 15 years, and I guarantee that if I opened up a folder, I could go find documents I created my first week at the university. We can't do that anymore. I really wish we could. So I had to take control and try to organize my mail, which is funny because I've been teaching Outlook for 20 years. I'm really bad at managing my mail. In Outlook, most people are going to be working in the full desktop app, whether it's Outlook for Mac, there's Outlook for PC. You guys are also going to hear about New Outlook. New Outlook. New Outlook is coming this spring. Eventually, they're going to force us to the new Outlook, but they have some bugs that they have to work out first. The reason I'm telling you this is there are 2 areas in your email that you are responsible for managing. You have what's called your primary mailbox, and then you have your online archive. When we talk to you about email storage limitations, we're talking to you about your primary mailbox. That's where your storage limit is. Your online archive is free and ever expanding. So put stuff in the online archive. The online archive is also searchable. So I typically tell people, if you don't think you're going to need to access the file in the next 3 to 6 months, put it in the archive, because you can always get back to it. It's just not sitting there and taking up space. Now you can also use those little archive buttons that are inside the Outlook interface, but they do not do what you think they do. Okay, those buttons have been around for an exceptionally long time in Outlook. And what those buttons do is they move content from your mailbox into a folder called Archive that's also in your mailbox. So if you use those archive buttons, you're still keeping stuff in your primary mailbox. So the big thing I need you to take away from this is that there are really 2 mailboxes. There's your physical primary mailbox, and then this ever expanding free space of your online archive. You can control what goes into the online archive by setting retention tags. You can also automatically delete stuff by using, those are the retention tags. You can put stuff in the archive by setting archiving tags. You can automatically delete things by setting retention tags. And working with a combination of those 2 tools, you can really get a good handle on where your stuff is located. There's that little sign, primary online archive. Automating your retention and archiving, I cannot tell you what to do. Like, I totally wish I could tell you, hey, I want you to go to this folder and you're going to set this for 6 months, and you're going to go to this folder and you're going to set this for 2 months. I can't do that because I don't know how you work. I also am not familiar with the retention policies for the type of work that you do. We'll talk about how you find out those retention policies here in a second. So retention policies, these retain emails for a set time frame from the date the email is sent or received. That's when the clock starts ticking. So if you set a retention policy for this or an archive policy for this needs to be archived after 3 months, the moment that email comes in, that 3-month timer starts clicking. Once that 3 months is up, it takes that file and it automatically moves it to your online archive. Anything else in here? You have to use the OSU retention policies. The library is responsible for that. Archiving policies. I'm just trying to see if there's anything super important in there Jason wants us to point out. Yes, so like I said, the 3rd bullet down, that really sums up exactly why you would use the archiving policy, used for emails that have longer retention, but you don't have to access it on a daily basis. And any retention policies will carry down to the online archives. So if you say archive this after 3 months, and then you say delete it after 6 months, it will go to the online archive it'll go to the online archive, it will live there for 3 months, and then 3 months later, it will automatically be deleted. So use them in conjunction with one another. So what are these archive tags? We need you, or I should say, I need you to remember that every single thing that you work with in Microsoft 365 is owned by the university, and they are university records. That means that emails have to follow retention policies. Again, I don't know what those are for you. It all depends upon the content of the email. I really don't think talking about it is very helpful. So we're going to show you how to set these archive tags and retention tags. Yeah, this is why they're important. That's all these screens talk about. Are important. It's important. All right. So how do you set them? Well, when you are in Microsoft Outlook, you can set a retention policy or an archiving policy on a folder or on an individual item. That's up to you. It all depends on how you want to manage things. For example, I have a folder called school. Everything that I put into that folder called school has a retention policy of 6 months. I'm sorry, an archiving policy of 6 months. After 6 months, anything in school goes to my online archive folder called school. And then after, I think I have 5 years, it will delete. You set it by using the assign policy button that you'll see in the upper left-hand corner, or you can always right click in a Windows environment. If you right click, you will have the ability to set policies. Policies cascade down. And what I mean by that is every folder or file will use the policy of its parent. So inside my school folder, I have a folder called communications. And inside when I take my file, email, whatever, and it archives it into that school folder, anything really, it's a hard way to explain this one. Let me get a better one. So cascading down. Okay, your inbox. Your inbox is your root level. That's the topmost level, okay? Every single folder underneath the inbox will use whatever policy is set on the inbox. That's what I mean by cascade, by parent policies. And there's the right clicking. I'm going to show you how to do those. This is the folder. I'm going to show you how to do this. I mean, it's a great screen if you want a nice screenshot, but the window's easy. The top half is retention. The bottom half is online archive. In Mac, it's reversed because, of course, on Mac, online archive is on the top and retention policies on the bottom, but it's still separated out so you can distinctly see which one you're setting where. This screen is talking to you about the cascading that I mentioned. Subfolders will use whatever policy is set at the parent level. Can I change it? Of course. You can make it more restrictive by setting a policy on that individual subfolder. But by default, it's use parent policy. This is a screen for my Mac users because I know I cannot show you because I don't have a Mac. But if you are a Mac user, you can now right click and set your retention and archive labels that way. Nice little screenshot. Again, right clicking, Mac. All right, so let's go ahead and see. How do I do this? You don't want to give me my Outlook? Okay. Sorry, my Teams has said it does not want to share my Outlook today. It has said no, thank you. So let's try again. Okay, fine. We'll just move you over there. Now, when you guys look at mine, I'm sorry, I have to turn my face from you because I have to use this monitor. It's the only one to show up on. When you come in here and you look at mine, I already have mine set, so you're not going to see a lot of things in here. But I do like to show how it works. So you'll see I have a folder here labeled purchases. It's got an asterisk in the front of it because it's the only way I can make it appear at the top of the list. It's alphabetical. So I like to put any receipts I get from purchases in that folder. To set the retention policy on, or the archiving policy on that folder. So I have a purchases folder. I don't need anything in there if it's more than 3 months old because I'm not going to access it. It's only, if I have a problem. So I'm going to right click on purchases and you'll see that there is a option called properties. Okay, we're going to go ahead and click on properties. And this opens up the properties for the purchases folder. Okay, there's a tab called policy. When I click on policy, I'm going to see top section and bottom section. The bottom section is online archive and the top section is retention. You'll see it says use parent folder policy. I reset everything so you guys could see it from scratch. All right. Online archive, I say there's no 30 days. Wow, that's interesting. Wonder why I defaulted to 30. Anyway, here's 90. So after 90 days, anything in the purchases folder will automatically be moved to my online archive. Okay. Deletion. This is also use parent folder. So what that means is it's going to use whatever the policy is of the folder in my online archive, because that's where it's going to go. So let's say 3 years. I don't need a receipt after 3 years. And then you click OK. Now, what's going to happen is from this point forward, anything I put into the purchases folder will have that retention and archiving policy. Usually people ask, well, what if I already have things in there? Yes, it will go on. It will apply that rule to everything that's in that folder. It can take up to a week though. I think it took like 2 days for mine when I finally started putting policies into place. You'll see if I click on purchases, there's absolutely nothing in here. And that's because I did have archiving policies in place before this session today. But if you go down, all right, down here at the very bottom, here's where my online archive is. And even it's nice. It even says online archive. So I know that that is what I'm working with. And look, here's my inbox and there's my purchases folder. So if I go to purchases, there should be some stuff. Okay. So there got to be something. One of the great things, though, is if you don't know what the retention policy is, take a look at the top of one of the emails. And if there is a retention policy at play, it'll tell you. See at the top, it says my retention policy, 3 years. It's going to delete it after 3 years. So I know how long it will be in there. But that's how you set them. Right click, properties. You can even do it in here too. So for example, maybe I do have let's see my retention policy in here. Maybe I wanted it to be different. 60 days, that would be worse. Maybe I want to make it 10 years. Make it longer. Now that's a deletion. It is going to delete it after 10 years. But you have that ability on any of these folders. How you're going to implement a policy that works for how you work, that's totally up to you. Let's see, what else did I want to show? Driving retention policies. I feel like there was something else. Let's go back to the slide. So I should print it out first. Come on. Come on, come on. All right. No, there wasn't anything else on my list. I feel there was something else I wanted to talk about with retention. And all right, so for a Mac user, again, it's the same process. You're going to, here, you'll right click. Only this time you won't go to properties. You will actually see set policy. I believe it's called set policy. And then when you hover on set policy, another menu will open and it will be broken down into retention and archiving. Does anybody have a question on archiving? Let me pop over to our Q&A. I haven't gotten any alerts, but that means nothing. Nope, nothing in the Q&A. All right, well, I have about 15 minutes left, so I would like to talk to you about some resources. I showed you how to set them, but I don't think anybody is going to like remember all of them. Or maybe you haven't thought of the question that you're going to have yet. So let's talk about the university library retention strategies. They have a lot of different tip sheets. That's what they're called, I guess. Tip sheets available for you to help out, to answer questions as to what your retention policies are. They even have file naming guidelines, some different organizational best practices. They also in this list, we have some, what's going on with that slide? Can you see text in this green box? In the first bullet? No? Yeah, something's going on with that. I can't either. Hold on one second. I'm going to open up the presentation itself directly because right now I'm running that presentation through, oops, through Teams. Just one second. I wonder if maybe it's because I'm running it through there. So in that box, it should say guideline. I thought so. Guidelines for email management and for the 365 web applications. That's all it says. Really, what all of these two bulleted lists are pointing out are the links that are at the bottom. There, the first link is OSU Records Management Guidance and workshops. They actually have workshops available for you and an email cleanup challenge. So if you wanted to get your department involved in trying to get you all to clean up your email together, they've got a lot of different challenges set up. All of these were provided to me by the service owner, Jason Pollock. So if you have any further questions on what the library means by those, or you can't find those tip sheets when you follow either of those two links, feel free to reach back out to me and I'll see what I can do about finding out more information on it. Um, you don't have to tell me, but I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you emptied your deleted items folder? If it has been more than a month, you might want to consider setting a timer in your calendar and manually checking it, or setting some type of rule to empty your deleted items folder. I'll go a year. I got yelled at by Jason. Most of my storage space was my garbage for Outlook. So basically, these are just some extra tidbits. Set a reminder to empty your deleted items folder. Remember, archiving and retention tags, these are not mutually exclusive items. They are used in conjunction together. The example here is set a 6-month archive tag and a 1-year delete. So in 6 months, it goes to your online archive. And then in 1 year, 6 months after it moved, it will be deleted. Also, another thing that can really help you with managing your storage, stop sending attachments. I'm a big offender of that. I have my New Year's resolution is to use sharing more often instead of sending copies of my documents out. So for example, if I send this PowerPoint presentation out to one person because I just want their opinion on it, they could turn around and send it to 15 different other people. And then I've got 15 different versions of this PowerPoint presentation that I have no control over. Same thing with Word documents. So by putting it in your storage and sending a link instead of the file, that saves storage because we're not having duplicates of those files all over the place. One piece of advice, if you are going to do that, like, so if I'm in Outlook and let's say I'm going to pick somebody's name, Matthew, it's just your name's in the list. So let's say I have to send Matthew an email and I would like his opinion on a Word document or a PDF that's going to be attached. I would send a link to the file, right? And in Outlook, it says send a link, and you would assume that it would give people permission to send it. So let me actually show you what I'm talking about. I think that would be more beneficial, and I have the time. Okay. At that, you're right in the first one right there. So let's say we're talking to each other and I can't type at all, right? And I want to attach a file. So I am certain that you've seen this. Well, let's see, I'll send that because I'm not really going to send it. I did not want to do that. What are you doing? Remove. Uh-oh. You know, this happens every time I run a session. Something in my Outlook doesn't want to work right. All right. Anyway, when you attach the file as a link, I'm certain you guys have seen it. You've done that. It says attach a file, send it as a link. You still have to go and specifically give that recipient access to the file. It took me 6 months to figure that out because I would send and say, you have access to the file. And then they would always have to email me back, or I would get a message from Microsoft saying, so-and-so would like to access this file. Just do yourself a favor, give them access automatically. If you are sharing it for collaboration, then you should probably be working within a team anyway. If you are sharing for just information purposes, then you can share it from your OneDrive. But don't do a lot of those, because remember, if it gets shared from your OneDrive, when you leave, nobody else has access anymore. So only share from your OneDrive if you really have to. Any email that you send to the online archive will appear in your Outlook desktop app. Pardon me, my brain's dead. It will appear in your desktop app on the left-hand side in the navigation panel. So it's always here down in the online archive. Also, your search, your global search, will search your online archive. And if you're not using the desktop version of Outlook, you can go to the OWA. In the Outlook web app, sorry, just trying to get back to Outlook real quick. Maybe. The heck? Oh. In the web app, it's actually called Personal Archive, but it's still an online archive. And you can come look in here as well. All of your stuff will appear. So desktop app, web app. That's a good question. Let me go down. How about folders that are shared between users? So they count for the owner. Whoever is the owner, that's what the storage. That's whose storage it goes against. So, like if I created the file and I shared it with you, Francesca, it would be my storage. If you created the file and shared it with me, it would be your storage. If we created the file together and put it in the team and then shared it between the two of us, it's the team's storage that it counts towards. Does that make sense? Just another reason to start looking at putting things in teams if it's going to be accessed or shared by multiple people. If you, what's that one? Hold on. If you move an entire to online archive, those remain there. If I move something to the online archive, will it remain there indefinitely? That's a good question. Yeah, I think it will, because I don't think we have any default retention policies. That could cause problems if we started just deleting things from people on like just randomly. So I do believe it'll stay there indefinitely. We do not get charged for your online archiving space. It's free and ever expanding. So at least that's what I've been told. Your online archive, Francesca, it just shows in your Outlook. It's not a special location, nowhere special you have to go. If you're in the desktop app, it appears in the navigation panel all the way at the bottom. And if you're in the web interface, like you see on my screen here, again, navigation panel all the way down at the bottom. And that was 20 minutes ago, so I might have answered it. I'm sorry. All right, Gabe, how is OneDrive calculating storage since primary use is collaboration? No. As I said, Gabe, it's wherever it is owned. So if it's in the team, it goes towards a team storage. If I created the document and I shared it out, it's my storage. If somebody else created the document and shared it out of their OneDrive, it's their storage. So it's just whoever created it, whoever is considered the owner. If you were a co-owner, that's not an owner. that's a co-owner. It's whoever the owner is. Da, 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 Anybody have okay. All right. I think I got all the questions in the Q&A. Does anybody have any more questions in there? Oh, look, there's something in the chat. Let me pop over there. Okay. Gabe, did I answer your question? If I did, just give me a thumbs up. If you want to talk about it more, I'd be happy to stick around about storage. It should have just been the Q&A. I'm trying to go through these. I'm sorry. All right, perfect. Thank you for helping out with my Mac users, telling them how they can find that cloud. I appreciate it, Gabe. I don't see anything else in here that I haven't answered. All right. Well, I will let everybody go that has decided that they have gotten everything they need. I hope this was helpful. Um, Even if you don't remember exactly how to set the retention policies, hopefully this helped you at least know where to go to get more information.